was an unusual day at City Hall. In fact, the City of Toronto has never seen anything quite like this. The city manager, Paul Johnson, says the new report from the Ombudsman, Kwame Addo, is both accusatory and lacks understanding, and the city manager says he's not going to implement any of the recommendations that are contained in the report.
I get emotional because I watch what we do.
Toronto's top bureaucrat reacting to a report from the city's ombudsman on how Toronto handled an influx of refugees in the summer of 2023. Scenes of refugees, mostly from African countries, sleeping on the streets shocked Torontonians. Toronto's shelter system was in jeopardy of being overwhelmed.
The City of Toronto has to make a very difficult choice.
Then interim mayor Jennifer McKelvey announced refugees would be directed to federal services and away from shelters. That was wrong, says Toronto's ombudsman.
It was done not in a transparent way, and it was not done in accordance with key city policies.
What resulted was systemic anti-black racism, says the ombudsman. His report contains a number of recommendations, but the city manager won't act on any of them. But don't call it a rejection.
It's been portrayed that I've rejected the Ombudsman's report, and that is untrue. Nothing was rejected. We disagree on some points, which is okay. We're accepting this report. Nothing was rejected here.
The letter from the city manager says that he will not accept my findings and he will not implement my recommendations. I don't know how much clearer it can be. To me, that seems like somebody who's not willing to accept the report.
Could you explain why this report has made you so upset?
Not upset, but I feel for the team. I think to suggest that this is a systemic way that we deliver shelter services is just unfair. If we want to talk about disagreement about decisions in this time frame, I'm all for that. And we could have had that discussion. But this leads people to believe that this is something that, is just the way we do business, and it's not.
Well, this is not over yet because the report will still go to City Council next week, and Council can decide whether or not it wants to act on any of the recommendations in the report. Despite what the city manager said, Council may still order him to do precisely that. Cynthia?
So it's not over yet. Now, Alan, you mentioned Jennifer McKelvey was interim mayor at the time of the decision. She took over after John Tory resigned. Olivia Chow, of course, is in charge now. What is she saying about this report?
I want to read you the very first line in her statement, which I think says a lot about what happened here today. Quote, "I welcome the Ombudsman's report. I don't accept it, I don't reject it, I welcome it." Mayor Chow goes on to point out that in July of this year, she reversed that decision on allowing refugees into city shelters.